Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week. And what a week! What a week it has been. Oh, we're heading into the last week of February. So let's see what kind of craziness we can have on the market and in the news in the following week. I'm pretty sure it'll be a crazy week. This actually, the interesting thing, I was thinking about this earlier. March, of course, that's when a lot of these tariffs are going to start hitting, some in April, but it's all beginning in March. So it gives the words March Madness a completely new meaning. So, oh boy, what can I say? So it has definitely been an interesting week. And those of you who were around the market Friday, holy banana bread. We had some good red. We had some good red. There was some buying opportunities, and I have heard of some of you guys buying the dip. That's all. That's all pretty good. That's good. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. But what can I say? What can I say? Of course, we got some news. I went actually one of the news articles I brought in something a little more, well, I don't know if it's fun, but more of an informational type news thing. So we got all of that to look forward to. Of course, everything's going down. Our basically our holder image, the little beaver with the tariff this up there. Um, that's just the attitude. It's like you know what, United States, you can tariff whatever you want. We're standing strong, and of course, this is not one of my main news articles, but it ties into our thumbnail. Go Canada. We beat the United States in hockey, international hockey. What can you say? Final game, overtime. There's no better way to beat the United States. So take that, US. Take that. Well, more in particular, take that, Trump. Take that. We win. We win. We always win. 1812. You tried. You got your ass handed to you back then. You'll get your ass handed to you now. We're good. We're as you know. I can already see a couple of Canada Strongs in the comments. So yeah, it's all fantastic. All right, let's actually hit the comments. Jonathan is in first. And am I late for internet access under the sea? No, no, but I always find that funny. That's pretty much one of the stories right there. It's in the title, but yeah, I can't wait to. Well, we'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. Prairie is in the house with a good afternoon, community, and a happy Sunday to you all. Nine is in with a holy banana bread. I got to make a new holy banana bread shirt for Nine. Nine wants one with the prayer hands. So I got to get some prayer hands going, some prayer hands flowing. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of prayer hands around in Canada with these tariffs. Like, please go away, Donald Trump. That type of thing. We'll see. Bismarcky says, happy Sunday, everyone. Max R in the house. Hope all are having a great weekend. We will see a green week ahead. I think now, normally, when the market behaves normally, we would normally get, of course, a green bounce. After the big drop on Friday, we would get a green bounce to start off Monday. Not meaning that Monday will be a green day, although I have a feeling it might. I think people will calm down. There was a lot of fear on the market, fear over tariffs, fear over inflation. And in the US, it was stagflation that people were a little bit more fearful of, plus the bird flu. The bird flu's got people a little bit, what's the word? Stressed out, worried. Is it the next pandemic? Well, the good news is the bird flu. It's basically H5N1. So that H has to do with basically the way it operates. Now, H5 does not operate within humans normally. Now, there have been some transmission to humans, but it doesn't thrive in humans, and human-to-human transmission is really, really, really rare. So for the most part, the chances of H5N1 becoming a pandemic They're not super good, but here's the problem. All it takes is the right mutation, and then then we're in trouble. But I guess the thing is right now is we're kind of given the virus as many times as it wants to try, but they're taking it serious. I mean, the fact that the eggs are so expensive in the States, why? Well, because you get one bird flu chicken on a farm, even if it's 8 million hens on that farm, there's 8 million hens that are going to get culled. So it is being taken seriously. Um, and so far, the situations where it has got into humans, it hasn't been a lot of human to human transmission, and we still need some mutations for that to happen. And let's just be hopeful. Anyway, that was a bird flu. We just had a bird flu tangent. I love it. Guy says high five. Oh, high five to everyone. There we go. Absolutely. Rory's in the house with an afternoon. There will be no loud bell ringing today. Nope, nope. There's no bell today. It's here, but it isn't gonna get touched. And Bismarcky, Canada strong. Absolutely, absolutely. Patricia is in the house listening in. Always appreciate that, Patricia. Roku from Stittsville, which is pretty much, those of you who don't know Ottawa area, Stittsville is on the outskirts of Ottawa. So happy Sunday all from Roku. And we got Lisa in the house with a hi, everyone. Awesome, awesome. All right. Talk a tiny bit about swag. We got the swag counter up on the top. We're at 10 out of 25. So each month we're going to have some goal, whether it be last month it was hot, not hot ones, but it was the bomb. So we hit the goal. I had to take a teaspoon of the bomb. This month, if I hit the goal, we're gonna have a swag giveaway. If I don't hit the goal, and we're pretty late in the month, I think we've only got 2 or possibly 3 live streams left. So today, Wednesday, and I'll give you guys a chance on Wednesday to earn one for the last day of the month. If we don't hit it, we'll just start it up again in March. No biggie. If we do hit it, we'll have something new in March, and I'll have to figure out what that is. I haven't even thought about it yet. All right. Mary is in the house with a hello, everyone. That means, guys, it's time. It's time to hit the like button. Mary is a big advocate of the like button. So if you want to hit that, turn it blue. I'll have some coffee while you guys are hitting that like button. So very good. So very good. All right. Well, we're off to a slow start, so we might actually get to the news earlier. We've actually had some streams that have gotten so crazy that we haven't even touched the first news article until about an hour in. Today is not one of those. Today we're having it looks like we're having a mellow start to the stream. So we can actually get into a little bit of news right away. And of course, our first big news article is, it's inflation, more or less the Canadian side. So we did have our CPI come out this week, and inflation, it came in at 1.9%. Now, we were anticipating it coming in at 1.8%. So it did come in a little bit hotter. Now, what's really interesting is when we strip oil and groceries out of that, it ended up coming in at 2.1%. So that's called core CPI. That we anticipated. We actually anticipated that to go down this time around to 1.7. So that came in pretty darn hot. Now, there's a couple of things we have to realize about this CPI. One is that the data is a little bit skewed. We had, of course, that GST holiday. So that did skew things along a bit. In fact, it actually skewed it in our favor because energy was up about 5.3%. And all of the extra sales going on with the GST holiday certainly helped skew against that. So that's fantastic. Now, the problem, though, is, of course, if you guys remember, the core inflation number came in a lot hotter. And it is showing that there is still persistent underlying pressures and some volatile elements like energy that's going to continue to be pushing on against inflation. It's going to be basically pushing these numbers up over the next little bit. But here's the good news. These numbers, they're not likely to trigger the Bank of Canada to raise rates again. Now, I will say, we're not going to see a rate cut. I don't think we'll see a rate cut in March. I think we're going to see a pause. We'll see a pause, and good old Tiff will give his speech, and it'll be like, well, we're taking it meeting by meeting, and we're not committing. We don't know exactly where we're going. We're not sure how these tariffs are going to roll out. Other than, I will say, Tiff did give one speech this week where he said that if these tariffs, if they get locked in and they persist for any amount of time, they're going to have huge impacts on the Canadian economy, and that recovery on the other side of the tariffs is not going to be a quick recovery like when we came out of the pandemic, how we recovered really fast. So he is putting the caution out there for that. So what can we say? Now we did also, in addition to this, the CPI, we also had the PPI. The PPI came in pretty hot. It came in at 5.8%. Now they had estimated it to be hot. They were thinking 4.3%. So it came in really, really hot. But once again, that was driven by increases in the cost of energy and petroleum. And also there was pretty much right across the board, a lot of increases in a lot of raw material prices, which was also fueled by energy. So energy definitely gave us an inflationary kick in the last month. But what can I say? It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to be normal. And I really don't think they're going to start going back to increasing rates anytime soon. All right. And David is saying that they lie about inflation. The thing about inflation, especially when you're looking at CPI, right? It is the items that are in that basket. So obviously any impacts on inflation on any items that are not within the basket of goods that they're tracking, that there does not get counted. So in many ways, sometimes that information can absolutely be inaccurate. There we go. Guy says, Candace, what's your thoughts on Brookfield Renewables and Brookfield Infrastructure? I'd like to buy them, but their payout ratio is insane. In theory, what they do, I like what they're set up and what they're designed to do, but right now, I just have not seen the fundamentals yet for those two aspects of Brookfield to make me excited about them. So I'm excited. I'm excited about Brookfield Corporation. I'm super excited about Brookfield Asset Management. But when it comes to Brookfield Infrastructure, Brookfield Renewables, and there's a couple of others in there as well, I'm just not excited about them. So yeah, I can understand why you're hesitant, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Honestly, if you want a Brookfield play, I would stick with the two. I would stick with either Brookfield Corporation or Brookfield Asset Management. Now, I think down the road, like Brookfield Renewables, I think in the future, they're probably going to be fantastic. We're just not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. And I think that it probably would be painful getting in and watching. Now, if you're getting into something like Brookfield Renewables and sort of saying, okay, I'm just going to dollar cost average them, and 5 years, 10 years, if they're doing fantastic, I'm going to love it. That's not a bad thing. That may not be a bad ploy at all, but I think it's going to look rough, probably until at least the other side of all of this tariff stuff. So we could be looking at 4 years. JJ is in the house with a howdy Sunday crew. We got a hi, Candace. JJ says, any membership gifting today? Any membership gifting today? I basically will drop about one for most streams. So yeah, we'll drop one. We'll drop one. Just give me a second here. Da. All right, here we go. There we go. It should be processing. It should be processing. All right. And David says, pensions are indexed to inflation. So high inflation would mean they'd have to give pensioners a raise. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, for example, your Canada pension plan, it gets indexed with inflation. It gets raised by that. Other things, is it the GIS? I think it's the GIS, where also OAS, where they will look at the CPI and they will inflation. I think they do it like 4 times a year. All right. Wayne Smith. Congratulations, Wayne. All right. Chad's 100% out of Tesla. I know you've been talking about it, but congratulations. Congratulations, Chad and Wayne, of course. Whoopa doops. There we go. Yeah, Wayne, congratulations. Congrats, Wayne. Go, Wayne. There we go. Absolutely. Lisa says, I wish my work pension was indexed to inflation, but at least our government pensions are, so that helps. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And that's one of those things, like when you are determining, for example, whether to take something like your CPP early, that's one of those things you have to sort of think about. Okay, what's going on with inflation? How much is that going to increase it when you're calculating how much you think you can earn with it? You see, that's kind of one of those interesting things. So sometimes if you leave your CPP alone and you let it, I guess we'll call it grow more, because that's what it does. You know, a lot of times that's not a bad thing. But if you do take it, it is going to increase, of course, by inflation. And if the markets are good, you could potentially make more money by taking your CPP early. But you got to, like I said, I've always sort of say that it's kind of a tapestry. So you want to look at a whole bunch of things about taking it early. Like sometimes one of the reasons you might take it early is by taking it earlier, you might want that lower number because depending on what other supports you have, or let's say if you're a person who is in that situation where you are relying on the GIC in addition to your OAS. Sometimes taking that CPP as early as possible to get it as small as possible can actually work in your favor. Because imagine if you take it so that you have it as a smaller income stream, because it is taxable. You could take that money and you could grow it yourself, of course, in your TFSA, for example. And in that case, there's nothing to worry about. It's like, what can you do? What can you do? All right. Rory says GICs are running around 3.2 to 3.5 rates at the moment. The good old GICs. Yeah, and I remember when they were up around 5. A little, actually, I think with EQ Bank, I remember they were I think they got up to almost 5.2%. But that's when we were at the height of the aggressive rate hikes. Bismarcky says, I hope everyone has signed the petition to remove Elon's Canadian citizenship. Is there a petition for that? I obviously haven't signed it because I didn't know it existed, but yeah, that would be fun. JJ says, if only work raises were indexed to inflation, but that's why investments are so good. Year over year returns on the rise. Yeah. I mean, most workplaces, they do not. Now, some workplaces will give you an inflation raise, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It seems like the longer you work, the less you're making. Even though that number's going up, it usually never catches up to inflation. And plus, keep in mind, inflation is not the only number that you need to worry about. Sometimes it's the actual cost of living. It may go up even more than inflation. So that's always never good. Patricia says, I have a small position, so reinvesting the dividend. All right. Hi, all. Happy Sunday. Rent controls are the same indexed. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Rent controls are sometimes there's goods and bad points to rent controls. Obviously, the good point is that it keeps landlords from going really crazy with rents. But on the negative side, and this does happen. Sometimes rent landlords, because of rent control, they're like, it's like, well, if I can get rid of that tenant, I can charge a lot more to the new person coming in. So some landlords, not all, but some, they'll make up stuff to get rid of you. They'll do whatever they can. It happened to me once. But now, mind you, in the situation that I was in, this was just before the Olympics. And because of that, they knew they could get, like, in the location that I was living, they knew they could get a ton more. And they were doing this to pretty much everybody in the building. Because I remember I'd be coming home from work and I'd see eviction notices on different people's doors. And I was just like, what are they doing? Well, then one day I came home and the eviction notice was on my door, and apparently it was a noise complaint. And I'm like, what? How can there be a noise complaint? I'm probably one of the quietest people in the building. I probably could have fought it. I never did. I was just like, fine, whatever. I did move. But yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. Chad says, anyone know why Warren Buffett sold all his S&P 500 index fund, as he always promotes that index? Did he sell the whole thing though, Chad? I haven't had a chance to look into that. So that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. All right, and we got a super chat. We got a super chat coming in here from Y Studios. So first of all, it does push our swag meter up to 11, and that means that Y Videos is the GOAT. We'll go with this one this time. So Y Videos is the GOAT. Now, not only is it a super chat, there's a question. There's a question in that super chat. So let's take a gander. So I'm thinking about buying some QCOM. Any thoughts? All right. Let's take a look at the QCOM. I have to turn off our news guy here so that I can see it. All right, there we go. All right, QCOM. Let's head over here. I'm going to. There we go. Bring this up here. All right, so here we go. So QCOM, of course, is Qualcomm. They are a chip maker. They're a chip maker, and one thing I will say right now with chip makers. Oh, look at this. This is a nice drop here. With Trump throwing tariffs, with Trump throwing tariffs on any chips entering the United States, it might work well for companies like Qualcomm, for NVIDIA. But at the same time, it's really hard to say right now. I think there's so much turmoil and there's so much confusion about how these tariffs are going to play out. But looking at Qualcomm, as you can see, they got a little bit of a dividend. So 2.055. I want to go back to their 3-year. And you can see, I mean, when tech had this big boost, we got it here. And they're kind of following the way most tech companies are right now. Pulling up some of their key data down here. This is never good. So right now, they've got a negative return on equity. So that means they're not profitable. So they're, even with, and I do like their debt to equity. Their debt to equity is 54%. But here's my thing. As soon as I see that negative return on equity, I won't buy them. I won't personally. It's like, for me, it's like that's my kryptonite. It's like, I don't like that. So doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way, and they could recover for sure. But for a long-term investment right now, I'd be a little bit leery of that. So I don't think I like them. I don't think I would recommend them at this point in time. Oh, that's so good. All right. Now, of course, I will stay here for the moment. Chat says, Rory, which bank offers that? All right, let's see. Do you feel we will see similar drops to February 3rd on the day's tariffs get implemented? Do you think the telecoms will be affected by the tariffs? All right, great question. I love this question. So I'm going to pull me back up here for a moment. So yeah, if you guys saw, and let's not do that. Let's actually, I'm going to show you guys over here. We'll go to EIT. We'll go to Canoe here for a moment. All right. Whoops. Cool. I wish they would stop that. I don't like that. But yeah, here is, you can see that's February 2nd, right? Or February 3rd, sorry, right there. So Canoe, I mean, they actually wicked all the way down to $13.26. So that's, it's one of these situations that we had this big kind of reaction to Tariff Day. So are we going to see it on, I think it's March 4th, whether it be March 4th? We could. I'm not going to say we won't. I'm not going to say we will, but I think there is some potential for there to be some very, very red weeks. Especially now, and here's the thing, there's always that possibility that Trump will give more extensions and, say, okay, well, you've done this for me. Here's your new list of things to do. In this case, it's technically still Trudeau at that point. Here's your new list of things to do. Go do these, and we'll give you another 30 days. He might do that. It could very well be a situation where all of the other tariffs are pretty much ready to get hit in April. That could happen. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it could. So we could have a situation where we do have a bit of a dip in the morning, and then if all of a sudden there's saving grace, everything will recover. But I'm looking at it this way right now. If the tariffs go ahead, I'm looking to March to be a very interesting month. Volatility galore. And I think we'll see things moving a little bit, probably more red than green with the tariffs. And most of it will be panic induced because all of these effects from these tariffs, they don't hit the economy immediately. It takes a little bit of time for them to sort of filter in. But initially, it's going to be a lot of fear, and fear can cause these type of drops, like what we saw there with Canoe. And let's actually I'll even show you this. This is like the Vanguard 500. So VFV. We're going to go to that. Whoops, we'll go to the 1 month. And I think, is it right here? No, it's right in here. No, right in here. So yeah, they had, like, the Vanguard also had a bit of a drop. It's not something like the pandemic. The pandemic had a big, nasty drop, but it did happen to a lot of different things. A lot of things fell. I think Dollarama had a very clear one as well, if I remember correctly. Let's go to Dollarama. We'll go to the 1 month. Let's see here. So yeah, it was all down in here. You don't see it as well as you could when it was on the days, but there was an impact, and we'll definitely see an impact as well again. Let's see. Rory says, Chad, looking at my credit card rates, and David has done well with SPLT. Interesting. Let me take. I haven't looked at this one here in a while. So this here is another one of these split core. So David likes split cores. This is the Brompton split core, and let's take a look here. Actually, we can go all the way back to the 3 year. So this one hasn't been out for a while, but look at this. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, and you're getting a half decent 5.82% dividend on top of that. So yeah, that's absolutely craziness there. And let's see here. All right, so this one basically invests in preferred shares of split cores. So what's really interesting is that this here is basically, it's an ETF that invests in split cores. Now, split cores, really interesting story. Before we had all of these covered calls and these covered calls with leverage, split cores were one of the few ways you had to get really big yields. But here's the thing. Now they've kind of sort of fallen on the wayside, and depending on, split cores have this thing as well, and it's part of their structure where they will suspend dividends from time to time, and that's fine. It's just the way that they work. But I've always been more hesitant of split cores when we have bad markets. So I did invest in quite a few of split cores, and back in the well, after even after the pandemic, I was into I think DFN and FN and a few others, and they were doing fantastic. And then of course, once it looked like we were going into a bear market, I got out of them because I was kind of expecting there to be some dividend cuts and a few other things like that. And there was, there was. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. But this is an interesting, this here, as David pointed out, this is a really interesting one because it's an ETF of them. So it could be very interesting. I think I want to keep watching this one for sure. But right now, since its inception, it's just been fantastic. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, David, I'm pretty sure you did really well with this one. I like what I like what I see so far. But, and this is going to be that thing. We are heading into turbulent times, and I worry that, how is this going to do? Maybe it'll do fine, but I'll definitely want to watch this one as we move into whether we get a bear market, whether we get a recession. I want to see what's going to go on. All right. 5.75. Did it get all the way up? There we go. I just remember seeing it around 5.2, 5.2.5, or 5.25, something like that. But if they got all the way up to 5.75, wow. That's not bad for a GIC. Not bad at all. Chad says, I locked in 2.8 years with BNS at 5.75 for a GIC at the peak. Nice. Lisa says, teachers' pensions are great. Now, are they indexed to inflation, Lisa? I'm thinking that might be why they're great. Let's see. I'm not signing it if they cut the size of the government. I'm all for it. All right. JJ says, most of the time raises are based on arbitrary performance evaluations that don't necessarily always happen. You have to haggle them for it. Job hopping is better. Yeah. Job hopping will give you more money. You will end up with higher wages. Yeah. How many times have you worked your complete butt off for a company, and then they're like, oh my God, you're so great. Yeah, we're going to give you a 50-cent raise. That's like 50 cents. What is this? Yeah, sometimes doing what JJ just said, you know what? Find another company that does the similar work and, go talk to them and say, look, here's a skill set I'm bringing with me. This is what I'm looking for. And you know what? The worst they can say is no. Best case, you're now got a new job making more money. And then, a few years later, when they're at that point where they're going to nickel and dime you again, do the same thing. Head to another company. Take your skill set with you. Get what you're worth. Let's see. JJ says, to get a point where your investments cover your expenses and sleep better. All right. Wayne says, thanks, Candace. But as you know, my entire portfolio is in U.S. stocks and futures. Wish that I could pass this on to a more deserving member. I know. And it's funny, like with that whole, with the whole giving of memberships, there's no control. It just goes wherever YouTube decides. Bismarcky says, the good old removiction. Yes, removictions. You gotta love them. All right. Wayne says, I follow your stream to get a true picture of events in Canada. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would love to know what Trump actually thinks is happening in Canada, event wise. Yeah. It still boggles my mind that he thinks that he can just throw his economic hammer at us and turn us into the 51st state. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But it's actually funny. I saw somebody was going on about Canada should join the EU, and I'm like, I don't know if I want that either. I'm pretty much happy with Canada being just Canada. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see. JJ says, adding to my U.S. holdings as we speak tomorrow. Big sale day since Friday. Hopefully they don't jump back up too quickly. Well, we'll have to see. Chad says 100% of the S&P he is out. Oh, wow. Jonathan says, Buffett's S&P 500 holdings was like 0.01%. Yikes. Yeah. 0.01%, still 1,000 times more than everything I own. That is probably true. That is probably true. All right. Your Dammit says, hiya, Candace. Happy Sunday. I came across a stock that NVIDIA just invested in, and I find it quite interesting. NBIS is the ticker. Your thoughts? They're from the Netherlands. Let me see if I can find them. What is that? NBIS. Let's see here. Let's see. Here's NUBF. NBIS. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. All right, we'll go to Yahoo Finance. All right, we'll see if I can find it. Sometimes some tickers, especially some American tickers, as well as other countries, sometimes they don't show up on my normal thing because that's run by the TS, but the TMX they own the TSX. So, oh yes, NBIS. There we go. Nubius Group. Nubius. All right. I think that's who we're looking at. All right. So let's take a little gander here. We're going to go sorry. Here we are. Statistics. All right. Couple things I want to take a look at right away. As you guys know, I always like my return on equity. So 7.28%. That's not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, it's, as you sort of said, I think it might be a company that's growing, but it looks like they don't have a dividend. All right, I'm going to take a look at just their growth at this point in time. Let's see here. Let's go. I'm going to go right all the way to their 5-year. All right, interesting. Yeah, I don't have a lot of information about this Nubius company. Yeah, I don't have a lot of information. So I would have to really do some research, find out why they're buying them. But if NVIDIA is interested in them, there must be something that they're doing that that is kind of interesting, that that is definitely making them interested. I don't know what it is. I right now, anything else that comes out of my mouth in regards to Nubius or Nebius is going to be pure speculation. So I would have to look a little bit more. Although we have one other option here as well. Let's just take, I'll see if I have them here. NBIS here. There we are, Nubius Group. All right. Oh, they are actually on the NASDAQ. Okay. Did not know that. All right, let's pull them up this way. And I'm going to pull up, these are their news articles. Let's see. So they're maintained at, all right. So BWS Financials is rating them as a buy. Let's see. Unity Software jumps 30% on Q4 beat, while Nubius plunges on some missed targets. Yeah. So once again, I'm not getting a lot even from the news here. So I would need to go, I would have to really scrape a lot deeper to come up with whether or not I think they're a good idea. All right. Ian says, let's see. I noticed I was getting manufacturer dividends in my non-registered account because of stock lending. I did some research and they might not be taxed as eligible now. Not good tax-wise. Ooh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. Let me ask you this, Ian. I'm not 100% sure on this, but can you turn off lending in just one particular account in Wealthsimple? I don't know if it's like an all or not, because yeah, if that's a situation and that's messing up with your eligible dividend status, you probably want to turn that off. And honestly, if it's an all or none, that might be a reason just to turn it off completely. Let's see. Wayne says, yes, Buffett is predicting a collapse of the market and raiding cash. At this point, his hoard is $325 billion. And that's not, I don't think that's fear per se with what Warren Buffett is doing, because I'm kind of thinking things are gonna hit the fan. Especially unless we get a 180 from Trump with these tariffs, I think it's going to be bad. I think it is going to get bad. I think we're going to have lots of buying opportunities in the next in the next year, maybe two. Who knows? This could be. I mean, maybe he's going to push, North America into a recession that lasts his whole term at this point. Um, so yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I know certainly I was when it comes to like even in the 0 to 100K challenge, one of the things I've been doing is I have initially I was putting away 1 cash each month. Now I'm up to 2 cash. So cash being the cash ETF. Um, but I'm thinking with March, I'm probably going to go up even higher. And if I start to really get an uneasy feeling with the market, I might look at things that are in profit and maybe start pulling back a little bit on that too. But I want to see what happens. First of all, once if these tariffs do hit, or if we do get that another suspension, another 30 days, it gives us more time to prepare. But I do think that like I said, unless Trump has a complete about face, and I don't see that happening with him, it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting nonetheless. What can I say? All right, Chad says, Ian, put it in a registered account. I think Ian's registered accounts are all full, Chad. Oh yeah, here we are. My registered accounts are full. All right, and Chad says, nice, good job. You can tax lost harvest then. Let's see. Ian says, I turned off stock lending. Dumb way to make $4 a year. Yeah. You don't really make much from stock lending, so it's kind of like, I think I've made pennies. I don't recall anything significant. Davis has a lot of negative divergence on the weekly SPY, like January 2022. When will it correct? Right now, I think all bets are off. It doesn't matter to me what you're using as an indicator. I think we're in trouble. I think we're in trouble if things don't change, and I don't see things as changing. So, and I've always told you guys, I said, you know what? When it's time to panic, I'll tell you it's time to panic. I'm not saying it's time to panic, but I'm saying you should be prepared to panic, not panic, but you should be prepared for the worst, because I think there is a chance. I think there's a chance that we're going to, things will get worse way before they get better. And they might be, we could be looking at a prolonged recession. And, it's kind of funny. Every year I make predictions at the beginning of the year, and I did not predict things to get this bad with tariffs and all of that. So, I might when I review this year's predictions, I may have a very low score this time around. JJ says, why not keep it, Ian? $4 is still $4. To charitable donations, anything over 100 is well worth it. There we go. Hey, welcome, Northern Gal. Joining late, listening in double speed. At double speed. Yeah, gotta love double speed. Ian says, going to lose my eligible dividend status, pay hundreds more in tax in exchange for $4. No, you don't want to do that. Turn off lending for sure. And it's interesting. I've never realized, I never really thought about the mechanics of dividend lending. But now we have pause. So yeah, if anybody else, if you are doing, if you've got stuff and you're non-registered, I would turn off your dividend lending your lending, because you don't want to get stuck in that situation that Ian's running into. All right. Let's see. Joining late and listening at double speed. Oh yeah, I read that already. Why video? So the TMX site seems to have wrong numbers about QCOM ROE. It's more around 41%. Okay. Maybe. Well, let's actually take a look here for a second. I think I still have Yahoo up. Yeah, I do. So let's go to QCOM in here. So, okay, yeah, because I looked at that negative number and I was just like, Don't know if I can handle that. All right, we'll come into the statistics and see what we got in here. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, so right up here, 41.97 cents. Okay, that's better. That's better. It puts QCOM because yeah, if QCOM had, if that number was accurate at negative, then absolutely, I'm worried. I'm worried about it. I don't mind 41%. That's a completely different story. And that's one of these things. I've noticed this with the TMX site that when it comes to American stocks, I usually will, like, if I was going to do a deep dive in QCOM, I would be double checking 2-3 different sources. Yeah, so that's not as bad. I like that a little bit better. So maybe, I mean, I am still bullish overall on tech. So, I think I'm not even going to go into the quantum section. I think AI still has more to sing, even under even under tariffs and with everything falling apart around us because of it. I still think AI is going to push forward. Now, mind you, some of these tariffs and some of the pettiness, because I know like Elon, for example, absolutely is in a tizzy over OpenAI. I mean, he tried to sue them. He also tried an unofficial buyout of them, and so it'll be interesting to watch. But I think the genie is out of the bottle on AI, and now that we've got quantum moving forward, it's going to be very interesting in tech. It'll be interesting to see how tech will respond to a bear market, to a recession. It'll probably go down. Like, I don't think, the power of what's happening is going to push it up. But I think, I don't think it'll be as bad as it was in the last bear market. But at the same time, oh boy, still fasten your seatbelts, folks. We're in for a rough one. That's going to be the motto of the rest of this year. Ian says, I only keep Canadian eligible dividend paying stocks in my non-registered account, but stock lending makes them non-eligible. I'm not taking a loss, only changing the tax status. Yeah. So don't lend stocks. Now, Ian, I don't know if you've answered yet or not, but do you have to turn it on, or sorry, do you have to turn it off? Does it turn it off for everything? Can you do it for individual accounts? I don't know the answer to that. Some reason I seem to think it's an all or none for everything, but Andrew says a doll had a hiccup with annoying expenses to build a district with announcing. Yeah. No, I'm still bullish on Dollarama. I think, they're in a really good spot. Like, they'll do well. They'll be one of these companies that, you'll have more, you'll actually look into your profile in your portfolio during the next bear market. And Dollarama will be one that will have more green days than most other stocks. So, I like Dollarama still. Tim said, let's inflate this bastard. Tim Smith is in his house. Oh, boy. Chad says, let's see, 60 watching, 25 likes. Smash that like. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm having coffee now. Guys, hit the like button. Let's get it out. Let's get this out to folks. All right. Andrew saying, what do you think about Alva Petro? Let's pull them up. Let's pull up Alva Petro. I do. I mean, I like them, but sometimes liking and having them do well is not always the same thing. Now, one of the things I think a lot of people like about them is they've got a crazy dividend yield here. So 10.666%. Oh, that's a little evil. But I mean, they're a good company, but here's one of the problems. This is kind of one of these problems that I do have. Let's just go down here for a second. Right here, let's look at that market cap. So they're a small company. So $176 million market cap. And with tariffs and volatility coming, these are one of these companies that I get a little bit more worried about. So as much as I like their dividend, if I want to play in the energy field, I think I need somebody bigger. I think I need somebody with a moat. Now, mind you, now having said that, let me throw this back the other way. Let's play devil's advocate to what I just said. The energy sector, Trump knows, as much as he says we don't need anything from Canada, that's a load of crap. They need our oil. He knows it. Otherwise, if they didn't need our oil, oil would be hit with a 25% tariff instead of a 10. So, he's put a small tariff on that. For that reason, this company may not get hit as heavy as what, everybody else will outside of the energy sector. So that could be their saving grace. But I would be cautious with them. I mean, if you're dividend chasing, I don't know if this is the option I would go with. I think there's probably a lot better options for dividend chasing, but it could still be an interesting company. I just would be careful with them. That's what I would say. And I like them. I do like them, but I would be careful. Let's see. Tim says, average Amazon Prime member spends $1,400 per year. Non-Prime user spends about $456 annually. If you had invested the difference into Amazon stock over the past 10 years, you'd have about $39,410. Nice. Yeah, good old Amazon. Vic said, made after watching Civil War 2024 with Kirsten Dunst. Yeah. I'm just trying to think here. Civil War. I think I've watched it, right? I was anticipating it being a really good movie, but I found it wasn't that great. It wasn't what I was anticipating. I was thinking it was going to be a big paced action movie, and it really wasn't. But let's see. Buffett Letter, interesting read. I haven't read it yet, so now I have to. I have to for sure. Prairie says, I have worked for the same firm for 38 years. I'm grateful for the 3 to 4% raises I've received nearly every year. Awesome. You got to like it. I mean, some firms do take care of their employees. It's just there's a lot that don't. And it depends on where you live, obviously. I think if you live in a smaller town, you're probably going to have, probably get treated a lot better by your employers. So NBIS, I didn't even look at that. A PE ratio of 189.9. Wow. That's pretty high. All right. We're almost getting caught up here. Ian says, you can pick what account you lend stocks. I turned it off on all my accounts. Not worth the headache. Made less than $10 total in a year. There we go. Do you use stops? It depends on what I'm doing. So, for example, in regular investing, like any of my long-term stuff, I'm not putting stop losses in or anything like that. But I will use limit orders, stop losses, things like that, in my trading accounts. Especially when I have to go away from them. If I am, because sometimes I might have an active trade and I go to lunch. So I usually have some limits depending on what is going on with the market. Sometimes it might be a stop loss, or it might actually be a sell. Like if it gets to a certain level, I want to sell, and then those are good lunches. If it hits a level that I want, it sells, and then I can come back and it's already dropped again, so I can then put it back in. But yeah, I will use them for that reason. And there are a lot of other ones that, for example, there's this trailing stop loss that I wish National Bank had, because I love trailing stop losses. They can be very, very useful. So those of you who don't know what a trailing stop loss is, basically, let's say your investment's at $10 and you put in a trailing stop loss. So let's say you said, okay, if it gets down to 10 or 9.95, I'm going to sell. So you put in a trailing stop loss at 9.95. Well, while you've gone away, because let's say you can't be around your computer that day, you've got stuff to do. Well, let's say it goes up to $10.05. Well, you initially had set that stop loss at 9.95, but it moves with the price. So it always stays 5, in this case here, because you set it for 5 cents lower, it stays 5 cents lower. So when it's at 10.05, all of a sudden the stop loss is now at $10. And let's say it has a really good afternoon and it gets up to, say, $10.20. Well, then at that point, your stop loss is then at 10.15. Now, when it comes back down, your stop loss doesn't go down with it, though. It only goes up with it. So if it fell down, it would then trigger if it goes down to, in this case here, $20.15. So then when I come back from whatever I had to do that day, all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, this sold at a profit. Nice. So, that's kind of a neat little thing. I know I almost switched my trading over to Desjardins brokerage because they have it, but I just found that the interface in there, they gave me way too many options and way too many steps. So when I am trading, I want to be able to trade. I want to be able to buy, and I want to be able to sell with minimum steps. So I want to be able to move fast. I could not move fast in Desjardins at all. It was just like, no, this doesn't work for me, even though they had those trailing stop losses. So every so often, if I get a survey or comment thing from National Bank, I put it in there. Come on, guys, give me a trailing stop loss. Working Bulldogs, Lisa says, maybe I should rush out and deploy that retirement lump sum that's on its way. Interesting. Let's see. Wealthsimple is not insured for stocks, but have lending turned on. Wealthsimple is insured for a certain amount, at least cash-wise. I think with the CDIC, didn't they? I believe they're up to 200,000. I think it used to be 100,000, or I could be wrong. Maybe it's 150 now. I have to look. I really would have to look. I haven't really dug that deep into Wealthsimple in a while. Let's see. Ian says, as far as stock lending goes, I'm not an expert. We'll see what happens when I file income tax. Okay. Yeah, definitely let us know. And David says, Questrade, 0 commission trades. Gotta like it. Yes, absolutely. So I have signed up for Questrade, and they're having trouble setting up my account. No idea why, but it's now Monday. It will be a week. And it's still not set up. I still don't have my my codes, because I got a few people who are waiting for my for my affiliate code, and I'm like, they're just got nothing. I had to contact them the other day, talk to customer service, and they reset it up again. And they're like, well, sometimes it takes time. But then again, I went on to Reddit, and it's like, I've heard many of these people like, oh yeah, I was trading in 20 minutes. I'm like, what? How are you trading in 20 minutes? So I'm still waiting. I even checked just before the stream began just to see if there was any movement, but it's almost like every time I click on it, I'm like, I just don't even. Someday it will work, and I'll be like, woohoo! All right, and buy CIBC. Yeah, why not? Let's see. What do you think about ENB with Trump tariffs? Considering they have pipelines running between the two countries, Magna will be decimated. So yeah, I mean, you have to look at Enbridge in a couple of ways. Yeah, they do have the pipelines and the oil moving through. So that oil, of course, is get hit with 10% tariffs. But you got to remember, that oil is not, it's not their oil, right? It's their pipelines. So whoever is sending that oil through their pipelines, and actually it isn't even them, it's going to be whoever buys that oil on the other side, that's going to get hit with a 10%. So it's only 10%. I think something like Enbridge, I think they'll be fine. Now, keep in mind the utility side of Enbridge, any utilities that they have set up in the States, that income's going to be fine. All of the Canada stuff, that's going to be fine. So I think Enbridge, will they be impacted a tiny bit? I wouldn't call them a heavy impact when it comes to the tariffs. All right, there we go. Is that a roller coaster? What are you drinking? Are you still drinking Starbucks? I'm at a Starbucks in Sedona watching this stream. Nice. This is instant coffee in here right now, and even on my stream, I have my Starbucks mug that I loved. Um, it was a Starbucks mug, but I was drinking instant coffee in it. So it's actually funny. Like I don't like. I'm weird. I am very weird because I'm not a fan of brewed coffee. I like instant. It's just really weird. Uh, it's just I don't know what it is. It just yeah, instant coffee tastes good. Brewed coffee, it's just I don't know if it's too bitter, but yeah. So, but I've always loved the Starbucks mug. And at one point, my favorite mug in the world was they used to have these big red ones, ceramic, for Christmas, and I would get my Christmas Starbucks mug every year and pray that it survived till the next year because I knew I wouldn't be able to replace it until then. So even in the middle of summer, I'd be sitting there with my Christmas mug, just drinking my coffee. I love that mug. Now they don't do those ones anymore. You can get. I think you can get some white ones that have a couple snowflakes or something on it, but the old-fashioned Christmas mugs that they used to have, those were fantastic. Um, Honestly, if I had one of those right now, I'd be saying goodbye to this, and that mug would be coming out. No ands ifs about it. There we go. Mario hit the like button. Awesome. Oh, you know what, Mario? I never do this for people hitting the like button, you hit the like button. That makes you a goat. That does make you a goat. So I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that this time around. Patricia says you come in and listening, so you should thumbs up. Yeah, absolutely. The good old thumbs up. I love it. All right. Meta says, is it reasonable to expect that since volatility is on the way, covered call ETF should do very well? Yes. And one of the things that will be interesting as well is the leverage. I'm a little bit worried about it. I will tell you why, because if we go into a bear market, and let's say right across the board, things drop about 25%. If we get a 25% drop with leverage, that's a big drop. That's a big drop. And so I'm kind of in that point where I think anything I have with leverage on it, if I start to feel like we're getting closer to that bear market, I'll probably move them to the non-leveraged version. So, for example, right now in the challenge, I think I've got QQCL. So I will drop that back to QQCC on the way down. But here's the thing: once we're at the bottom, or once we're at least the big drop is done, then I'm okay with going back to the leverage. Because it would be fun to have the leveraged version on the way back up, because then you're going to really, really maximize. But on the way down, I don't want to pay that leverage. So it's also like, I'll give you another example. HYLD, that's one that's using leverage. So it might be something to sort of think about. Because they did the last bear market. HYLD had a very big drop, and I can actually show you guys this. Let's go to HYLD. And I love this. I love this ETF. Oh boy, they've already had a big drop here. Got to go to 5 years though. So here's where they came in, and then we went into a bear market. But look at this drop. This is a huge drop. So and you can see they've never gotten back to that that high that $16 area that they have been in. Now, why have they not got back? Because we have gone into a bull market. Obviously, on the way back up, one of the big issues that we've had with this is that as this market was recovering, you'd had everything from loss of upside potential, so you're not getting that back. And this is also one of these funds that this was a launch too. So because of the launch, you also get that extra people getting super, super excited. So that's one of the reasons I tend not to buy on an IPO is you will a lot of times get a big move to the upside. And then as things settle down, it might settle down a little bit lower. So, but you can sort of see this here, there was leverage involved in this because they maintain about roughly 25% leverage. So I'm always a little bit leery. So obviously, if we have another big drop, and you might think, oh, well, it's not going to go below $11. Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. It won't go as big. I don't think it'll go quite as big. Like it won't be that big drastic, but I could easily see it getting down to maybe $10. But I don't think it would go below that. But then again, I mean, we're kind of in an unprecedented time. And if, Trump keeps doubling down on tariffs, let's see what this is going to see. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Canada spends $2 million per year to make Cambodian woman eat bugs. Oh boy. I don't know about that, Tim. That sounds a little odd. Lisa says, no, maybe I shouldn't rush out and deploy that retirement. And S&P, David says, S&P up nearly 800% since 2008. Northern Gal says, you shouldn't phone Wealthsimple again. Get a different service rep. Or you should phone. Yeah, sometimes I have had that happen where I have called companies before and I have gotten, if I get a bad service rep and I'm trying to talk to them and trying to explain to things and they're not listening, I hang up. It's not worth the aggravation. I'll hang up, I'll call back. And then usually on the second call, I get somebody who knows what they're doing. I'll do it. I have no problem doing that. Now, I might be a little hesitant to do it if I had to wait 4 hours to get the first person. But for the most part, yeah. That's why I'm so glad that sooner than later, it'll be almost hard for you to get a human customer service rep. It'll all be AI. And at that point, thank you. That's what I say. Thank you. I will be very happy. I'm just hoping that AI won't lie to us. Like, for example, I'd love to have AI. Like I could say, hey, are you AI by any chance? And if they're like, yes, I am an artificial intelligence, I'll be like, oh, thank you. Great. Now I know we're going to get something done today on this call. I'm probably pretty skeptical. Well, I guess part of it is, I've worked in call centers before, and a lot of times I would be dealing with calls because, maybe 6 agents would completely mess things up in a row. And I'm like, oh my God, does anybody competent work at this company? Sometimes it would be that bad. Now, there's a lot of good agents at different places, but I know one of the companies I worked for, one of my earlier jobs is I did a tech support job once with Compaq. So they're a computer company. And I got an award for a call, but I honestly thought it was a horrible customer service call. Basically, it went like this. So this woman called in and she was really mad. She was like angry. And she was like, I am so sick of it. Nobody can fix my problem. I've been calling you. I've been calling Microsoft. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what the problem is. And she mentions this error that she had. And then I'm like, oh, I know exactly what her problem is. So I said, look, just let me humor you. I had her right click on her desktop and I got her to change her display settings because basically the program she was trying to use was incompatible with her current display settings. That's all it was, but nobody could figure it out. And so, and then I did that. And this is like quite literally, this is about a minute into the call. And she's like, it's working. And then she was almost mad again. She was like, why did nobody figure this out except for you? And I had a moment of pure arrogance. I sat there and I said, because I'm smarter than everyone you've talked to so far. And, that's bad customer service. I'm telling you right now, if anything, I should have been reprimanded for that call, but no, she wrote a glowing letter to Compaq, and they gave me a little plaque that I put on my cubicle because it was just like, I think it was like the call of the month. So I was like, what's going on? Why am I being rewarded for this? But it was just a simple thing. It was a simple thing. And I think what was going on in that situation is everybody was trying to overcomplicate what the issue was. And it wasn't an overcomplicated issue. It was a simple issue, but everybody was missing it. And instantly I listened to what the issue was, instead of taking a situation, because normally if you get something like that and you're thinking, oh my God, nobody's able to fix it, it's going to be something really hard. But I won't do that. I'll say, I'm going to step all the way back and I'm going to start at the basics, work my way forward. And, and that's what it was. It was a simple display, a simple display problem. So anyway, there you go. Vic, you got a tangent today. All right. Bismarcky says, Wealthsimple CIDC coverage up to, is that 1 million? Holy banana bread. That's higher than I thought it was. Let's see. Lisa says, no, maybe I shouldn't rush out and deploy that retirement lump sum because of the way things are going now. Maybe better to wait for some deals. Maybe. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of good deals. I really, really do. I would agree with that. I mean, if you see, like, maybe deploy a little bit if you see some really good deals, just in case everybody's wrong about this. It doesn't hurt to have an ace in the hole for sure. Kenneth said, I heard it's not the bird flu that we should be worrying about. I heard about HKU5-CoV-2 Batwoman flu. China, same area where the original COVID apparently began. They have another version of COVID there, like another COVID, new novel COVID that could be of concern. They did let the world know, oh yeah, it's here. It's a concern. So yeah, I would be worried much more about that than I am about the bird flu. So yeah, absolutely, Kenneth. Hopefully, if it does become a thing, hopefully this time we've learned enough from the last one that we don't let it get out of control. Hopefully. Jersky says, hello, do you still think Bitcoin is going to keep climbing or has it run out of steam? Really good question, Jersky. Really, really good question. So originally I thought Bitcoin had the possibility to get to 120. Now, as we moved up pretty fast towards the end of the year, I modified that. I said, maybe we can get to 130. And I was thinking 130 is the top. But now we're in a situation where we're kind of holding steady. So, it's hanging out between 90 and, 90 and 100, maybe to 105. And it keeps hanging out in that zone. So here's one of these things. I do think it's going to go higher. I think we're going to get, I think it'll be just a big blowout at one point and it'll zip up. I think it might even get to 130. Maybe I'll be wrong and it'll go higher than that. But I think there's still at least one hurrah left before we look at a crypto winter. And some people, I don't think the crypto winter is going to be as bad. Like, we're not going down to 20K. I don't even think we're going to go below 50K. I think 50K, if we have a bottom and I had to nail it in, I would nail it in at 50K, but we may not get there. We may wick there, but it's going to be interesting. Now, Chad here is very crypto bullish, and Chad's saying BTC will go higher. Lisa says, I drank instant for years, but started drinking brewed about 10 to 12 years ago. I love Starbucks Light Roast Blonde. There we go. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just, maybe I have to have a more complicated coffee with Starbucks. Their manipulation, the price, so people, the big whales can buy cheaper. Yeah, that's a normal thing. That is absolutely normal. Whales love that. So whales are people who own, I can't remember the exact number, but, they have a lot of Bitcoin. And one of the things they like to do is, they like to sell at the highs. And then they like to, if you get enough whales selling at the highs, that will push the price down a bit. And then regular people start panicking and they start selling and it drops the price. And then those same whales that started it at the top are sitting there going, woohoo, now let's go in and buy more Bitcoin. And they go in and they buy up, they end up with more Bitcoin than they started. And it's sort of a rinse and repeat cycle. But we are getting to that point that it's not as easy for them to do it as it used to be, especially with the spot Bitcoin ETFs in the US. That's made things a little bit different. So they're having a lot of, they can push it down, but they They almost have to very much be coordinated to pull that off nowadays. And that's exactly what David has said is what I'm saying. Yeah, we've been kind of consolidating sideways for quite a while. Um, I really should back out and do a bigger a bigger technical analysis on the longer term pattern just to see what's going on. But yeah, I see it as consolidating sideways, and I do think it's going to break to the upside eventually once it's finally finished all of this consolidation. Let's see. Do you think BNS would be back to the high 70s? Their next earnings are likely to be affected by their operation changes to the Latin market. Um, yeah, I mean, I think Bank of Nova Scotia will probably struggle a little bit. You've got a little bit of a, I don't want to say restructuring, but in a way it is because moving out of the Latin market is part of it. Now, keep in mind too, right now the banks, they are in that wave of mortgage renewals. So there is that as well. Add in addition, of course, add the tariffs to that. It's bad soup. It's bad soup for the banks. But here's the thing: they have put away a lot of money for loan loss provisioning, and so far, the wave they got last year, the money they put aside for that part of the wave, they had more. So they actually had leftover money. So as long as this wave, is not as bad as they're anticipating, but this is the heavier part. So if things are going to go wrong, it'll be this year. Last part of the wave will be a beginning of next year. So we're going to have to see how that all goes, but that will put a little bit of extra stress on the banks. But I'm still seeing the banks as doing relatively okay this year. And keep in mind, tariff-wise, they're actually not in a bad position. They're going to get hit with collateral. Everybody will get hit with collateral damage from the tariffs, but the banks are not really import exporters. So that's good news on that part. Chad says, let's see, like doing before it bounces to the moon. There we go. So Chad's thinking spring. What do you think of Questrade change on their platform? I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. So as I mentioned to everybody, I have signed up. I'm trying to get they're taking forever to get me set up. Like quite literally, tomorrow will be a week since I signed up, and I still can't trade. I don't have my affiliate code yet. I'm like, come on, guys. So yeah, I'll have to reach out to customer service again tomorrow and just find out what the heck is going on. Why are you taking forever? Because yeah, I want to get that all set up, and I am excited. One of the reasons that I'm really excited too is not just because of commission free, but you can hold American accounts in Questrade, and because Norbit's Gambit is there, it means that you can move money cheap, a lot cheaper between Canadian and US funds. So if you want to do that as well, so that's fantastic. So I am pretty excited, and I can't wait to try it out. And I've liked a few of the things I've seen already on the online stuff. Like I like their watch list. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. Other than this wait, don't know what's going on with that. So as soon as I can actually play around, I will be so much happier. Jay says, I haven't used a Wealthsimple Credit prepaid card. Can you pay inside the TFSA or transfer funds into a cash account? I think with that card, you have to have it in their cash. Wealthsimple has like a cash account. Yeah, exactly. So you'd have to move it into that. Let's see, can't buy fractional shares on Questrade. Not yet, but here's the thing. They are going to be adding that, I believe, this year. I have heard that they're adding it. So that is coming to Questrade. So yes, right now you have to buy full shares, but soon enough, they will have fractional as well. Let's see, Jay. Yes, I use Wealthsimple Cash account like a checking account. Let's see, transfers to RRSP non-registered TFSA crypto account and get 1% back on purchases and 2.5% monthly, and you pay your bills. All right. I'm going to skip that since we're so far behind. What do you think of the Questrade changes? I love them. Questrade wasn't really on my radar, to be honest. And then they made all the right changes, and I'm like, okay, that's why I've signed up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what they've done. And here's the beautiful thing. Whether you're a Questrade fan, a Wealthsimple fan, with Questrade stepping up, this will put more pressure on Wealthsimple to keep on getting better. So I think this is great for the entire do-it-yourself market. I think everybody's going to win out of this. Chad says Wealthsimple has come a long way in the last 5 years. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. IB is really good for trading platform. Is great. Commissions really low. That's Interactive Brokers. Vic says, gut feeling things are going to get worse over the next few years. Could be indigestion. I think a lot of people share that feeling, Vic. I'm not very optimistic of the next couple of years. Chad says, Jay, yeah, it's called cash account there, credit card. All right. Yeah, see, David, you got lucky. They and I was like, I should have just called them directly and said, look, I'm a financial YouTuber, and you want me to say bad things about this long process? But I have a feeling that I know I went on the Reddit and I heard a lot of people say, yeah, I was trading in 20 minutes. And then there was a couple of people who are like, for some reason with me, it took a week. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to hear that I was the exception, but we'll have to see. Jersky says, HYLD increased their distribution. I'd buy more if it dips under 13. Yeah, they did. HYLD and I think HDIV as well. I think they both increased their dividend. So nothing wrong with that. Chad says, Vic, think it's going to happen a lot sooner. Last 5 weeks, every Friday market in the red. Tim said, I had a compact Presario all in one in the 90s. Shout out. It's actually funny. Compact, they had a Presario. It was model 5050. That was the number on it. And you get customers that would call up and say, yeah, they named this thing right. You got a 50% chance that it works. So it's just like, why would you give a model number 5050? Ian says, okay, I was checking with Wealthsimple AI and they say my eligible dividends won't be changed from stock lending. False alarm. Hope AI understood my question. Yeah, okay, well, that's good to know. But nonetheless, I mean, if you're not really making anything, what can I say? Let's see, ENS trades well below NAV right now. So yes, ENS, guys, that's a split core that invests entirely in Enbridge. So it is one of the split cores that I do like. And I'll show you guys. We still got the thing up here. It's funny, we've only gotten through one news story so far. Oh boy. So here we are. Here is ENS. First thing is dividend yield, pretty big, 11.395%. It's a monthly dividend, 13 cents. I'll pull it out. Now, you can sort of see it doesn't really, it tends to be more of a, where'd my mouse go? There it goes. It tends to be more of a straight income producer. It's not really a big growth stock, but I found it to be very reliable. So I do like ENS. It's one of the few that I like. All right. Meta says, what I like about Questrade is their platinum member service. They usually pick up within 2 minutes and personalize an expedited request. Nice. Yeah, I'm not part of the platinum member service, but well, maybe someday. Rory says, I can't find my any key to begin typing. Yes, I love that. Where's the any key? I'm looking. I can't find it. It would actually, if I was a keyboard designer, I would probably make a keyboard that had an any key on it just because I would find that funny. You should try Moomoo. No, thank you. I just Moomoo bugged me. Like they were hounding me to sponsor. They wanted to sponsor something. I didn't find out exactly what they wanted to sponsor because I just didn't. I wasn't willing to entertain them. And I know. I think Canadian in a t-shirt. He likes Moomoo, but I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into Moomoo, and I've heard as well that they have that they're owned by China or something like that. And I just Moomoo. The fact that they bugged me as much as they did when I said no, I really am not interested in a relationship with you, and then they kept on going. I was like, do I need to get a restraining order against them? Well, no, I just deleted their emails, but. what can I say? All right. Ian says, oh my God, I think I'm actually caught up. I really like Wealthsimple prepaid card. I pull money out of my Canadian ATM and get the fee refunded. I don't get the fee refunded in Colombia, but BMO did not refund the fee, and BMO would charge you a fee. I know most of the big banks will charge you fees. I mean, you go into a bank and you burp. I think they'll give you a fee for that. I mean, it's bad. Let's see, Ciso 99. Wealthsimple is expensive and asking price is too high. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, keep in mind when you're looking at the spread of what something costs and what you're paying, sometimes, that's where some brokers will make a bit of their money in that spread. And Wealthsimple is definitely in that boat. Andrew says, can Wealthsimple cash account have a negative balance? That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think so, but I've never tried it. I've never really tried to see. So that could be an interesting thing. All right, guys, we can get to the next news story because guess what? We finally caught up. All right, where are my? I have to find my news stories now. All right, here we go. Oh, and I need to be down in the corner. All right, so it seems like so long ago since we've talked about inflation. But we also had our retail sales report come out for December. And year over year, sales came in at 3.9%. Now, they were estimating 0.5. So we pretty much blew sales out of the water in December. Now, a lot of the reason for that, of course, is that GST holiday. Month over month, December came in 2.5%. They had anticipated 1.6%. So it was big. It was a big month. We also got preliminary numbers for January. Right now, they're looking at sales coming in at negative 0.4%, estimate of negative 0.3%. So January sales are always going to be lower. It's just kind of January, that's what happens. Everybody spends all their money in December for the holidays, and no one has money left in January. Now, December's retail sales, they were boosted by gains at food and beverage retailers, as well as motor vehicle and parts. Now, sales were up in all 9 of the subsectors that Stats Canada tracks, which is nice. So food and beverage retailers, they were up 3.5%. Supermarkets and groceries were up 3.9%. And I mentioned the motor vehicles. So the motor vehicles and parts were up 1.9%. What can I say? All right. Let's see. Moomoo is owned by Futu Holdings Limited, a Hong Kong-based financial institution listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. Yeah, there we go. Like I said, for me, my biggest downside was that I looked at it. I'm like, I'm not paying commissions. No way. There's no way I'm doing commissions. And once I said no, the fact that they kept at one point I was getting emails daily from them. And I saw a lot of other influencers just all of a sudden started promoting Moomoo, and I'm like, yeah, there they go. I'm gonna, if I switch, like, for example, with Questrade, I like what they've done. That's the reason I'm going over. I'm not going over so that I have a new affiliate code and I can hopefully try to talk everybody into going over. Moomoo, I just can't recommend them. So I'm just not going to do them. That's kind of the way. Bleak is in the house with a hey. Good to see you, Bleak. Always good to see you. All right, guys, I think I can actually move to the next story. This is our trade war front lines. We got a couple of stories in our trade war front lines, of course, with the tariffs. So this week, Donald Trump is now thinking about an additional 25% tariff on lumber products, autos, and computer chips. And these, if they come about, and I think these would be an April tariff, they're going to stack with the 25% tariff that is across the board. So right now, from what we understand, we're looking at 50% on steel, aluminum, timber, and autos, 10% on energy, and 25% on everything else. We also know that he is thinking as well about hitting us with something in regards to that digital sales tax. So the DST. So we'll have to see what that all works out to. I think, yeah, whatever craziness is going to come out in April is going to be pretty bad. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now, still within our trade war territory, there's been a lot of talk about the interprovincial trade. So the federal government, they're planning to remove more than half of their exceptions from the Canada Free Trade Agreement as part of a push to basically to liberalize trade within the country, get the things moving. Regulatory and administrative differences between jurisdictions are blamed for, well, they're blamed for keeping products from moving. Like if in Ontario, you can't really get wine from BC, for example. So business groups and researchers, they have advocated for the governments to do, basically to do this for a long time, but now we're at a point where it looks like it's going to happen. Now, also this week on Thursday, the Nova Scotia Premier, Tim Houston, he announced that his government will introduce legislation that would ease trade and labor mobility with other provinces so long as they do the same. So he's put that stipulation in. Doug Ford said he would do the same provided he's reelected. And right now the polls say he probably is going to be reelected. All right, one last part in our trade war. And oh boy, holy banana bread. This is one I did not see coming, but it's here. So there's new directives within the U.S. science agency. So for example, like NOAA, that's our the big weather science people. They're requiring that U.S. scientists have to request clearance before, and this is crazy, but they have to request clearance before they can talk to any of their Canadian or other non-American scientists. So they're putting a big clamp down on science in the U.S. So that's kind of weird. Even emails with international counterparts that are scientific in nature and involve any kind of exchange of scientific data must be submitted for review. So they're making it really, really hard for these science agents. And a lot of these science agencies are going to be gutted. I know I mentioned that the James Webb Space Telescope is probably having about 20% of its budget cut. So Elon and the Doge boys, they're just gutting everything. And I'm not sure though why, like for example, if you have, and I guess part of it especially with NOAA, is that because of the whole, oh yeah, climate change is no longer real, that might be part of why they don't want them communicating and talking to people who perhaps have a completely different viewpoint than the Trump administration. So it's pretty crazy. Some of the stuff that's going on is absolutely nuts. All right, Ian says, I hope Questrade does a promotion like Wealthsimple did. 1 or 2% match would be nice. Yeah, that would be cool. Absolutely. Rory says, let's see, I hope TD RBC banks cut their commission rates. I'd be happier with 4.99 rather than 99. Yeah, and you see, this is the thing. Like when National Bank decided to go commission free, I was like, all right, first of the big six. I thought we would see more. So far we haven't. The only thing I know is that a lot of the big five, because National Bank is commission free. A lot of them do have commission free on like ETFs. So if you're investing in ETFs, but yeah, no, I'd like to see commission free right across the board. Absolutely. All right. Chad says, let's see, BNS cut their rates to $4.99. Okay. Oh, nice. All right. I did not know that. So then there is hope, Rory, because usually if one of them does it, maybe the others will follow suit. Let's see. Wealthsimple has $1 million insurance with CDIC, except for stock lending. Interesting. Let's see. Not sure what CIBC is at. And Skiz says, how crazy is it that we have interprovincial trade restrictions on trade talk about shooting ourselves in the foot? Yeah, that's absolutely craziness. So this is the funny thing. I heard like some of these restrictions. It's like, oh, your trucks can't come into our province because you have slightly different items in your first aid kit. And that's no word of a lie. That's true. In some cases, it has to do with the weight. It's like this is our maximum weight, and so if a truck has little bit more because that's what everybody else lets them have, all of a sudden they can't go into like Nova Scotia, for example. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy rules out there. So we just need to standardize it. And apparently there's like about 600 regulatory bodies that control all the provinces. It's crazy. So that's one of the positive effects of of this Trump administration is that it is forcing Canada. It is forcing Canada to clean up our act. And that's not a bad thing. That part is not a bad thing at all. Let's see. Questrade is offering 3% on any accounts transferred over to them up to $10,000 and then 1.5% for the remainder, no limit. They pay over 24 months. So yeah, okay, interesting. That sounds like a pretty good one for sure. Skiz says, sounds like we need a Canadian Doge. Well, I'm sure we have a lot of waste in our government. And this is kind of what I've been saying on other, I think we were talking about this on the market close the other day. One of the things that I would like to see is, sure, yeah, let's get rid of redundancies in the government. Let's cut out the waste. But I wouldn't do it the way Doge is doing it. Doge is coming in like with a sledgehammer. It's like, let's knock things down and then we'll just rebuild something if it doesn't, if we've knocked something down we shouldn't have. I would rather see it being a little bit more, thought out, not just sort of brunt forced, more surgical. So, give them a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer. One of the good examples of this is Doge came in and they went and fired a whole bunch of the nuclear weapons scientists. And it's like, these were people that they absolutely needed. And then they realized that after the fact, and they've been trying to get them back. So I don't know what the status is of, in some cases, they couldn't even get in contact with some of them because the only contact they really had was through their work emails, which they had already turned off. So I don't know. One of those fun things. All right. Ian says, 1.5 would be nice. Need to wait until July because I'm locked into Wealthsimple until then. And Skid says efficiency more than financial. Wayne says Musk spent 2 years attending my alma mater, Queen's University, 1990 to 1992. His choice was between Waterloo or Queen's. He chose Queen's since there were more girls attending. Oh boy. Yeah, he seems to go through girls pretty fast. He gets in, has a couple kids, moves on to the next. It's like, yeah. I think he's at, 13 kids right now? Enid is in the house. Hello, everyone. Hi, Enid. Good to see you. Rory says, not to be too rude, but Elon does remind me of the Mad Magazine character. Oh, Alfred E. Newman. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. That is kind of funny. All right, let's get that next news article out of the way. And this is our news from the Hill. We don't have a lot of news from the Hill this time around, but Poilievre did make a promise that was actually kind of interesting, and it kind of ties into the interprovincial. So he has promised to build oil and gas pipelines running from Alberta to the Maritimes in a speech he gave over last weekend, actually. And that was part of his plan to respond to the U.S. tariffs. He also said that he would loosen environmental assessment regulations to get more energy projects built. So yeah, a little bit of news from the Hill. There was a few other things, things with the polls. I think Poilievre has finally shifted gears, which is good, because initially he was sort of painting Carney with the same brush as Trudeau with the whole carbon tax Carney. But that's the thing, is Canadians are more worried about the tariffs. So he has switched over to the tariff messaging, and that is, I think that's going to be really good for the it's going to be really good for the Conservatives and for their elections. Now, one poll that did come out is that they were looking at leadership. Now, this was before Poilievre really started to shift his message. But one poll actually said that, if if sorry, I just saw this next message here. Let's see. I love all the beavers, and this one here. I do love face palming government beaver. Yeah, it's the beaver of the house, the speaker beaver of the house. So what can I say? Um, oh right. So there's one poll that said which leader. They did a poll on all of the different leadership contenders for the Liberals in dealing with Trump, and basically 37% of Canadians thought that that Carney they would vote for Carney if he was the leader, compared to the 40% that the Poilievre has. Now, the interesting part, and I mentioned this the other day, is that all of the extra points in the polls that Carney picked up in this poll, they pretty much most of it came from the NDP and a little bit from the Bloc. So definitely an interesting thing. I want to see some updated polls though this week, so I'll bring some polls with me next week so that we have some data. I didn't get a chance to grab these polls. I just saw it on. I was watching a poll on the news about it, so I didn't have a chance to track that one down. So I won't talk too much more about it. But yeah, that was our news from the Hill. Not a lot happening, but we're coming into the end of the. We're coming into the end of our leadership race. So we should have a new prime minister sooner than later. Thank God. It'll just be good to get this all behind us. Hopefully we get an election. That's what I'm looking for. I do want an election. All right. Ameta says scientists need clearance before sharing with other countries to ensure that any shared aligns with Trump's propaganda. Yeah, pretty much. Skiz says facts, not feelings, please. Yes, facts do rule over feelings for sure. Absolutely. All right. Now we get another story. We do have another story. We got a story about the good old CBC. And just give me a second here. I lost a page. There we go. Now, the federal heritage minister, so her name is Pascale St-Onge. She's come up with a plan to modernize the whole mandate of the CBC and Radio Canada. So she wants to bar them from running ads during news programming and from charging subscription fees for any of their digital products. So we're talking CBC Gem. So my understanding is CBC Gem is free right now anyway. I don't know if I would want to cut news ads. I mean, CBC doesn't make a lot of money. They probably need all of the ad money they can get. But here's the rest of it, is that in turn for this, the government would then increase the funding to the CBC. Oh boy, and make it more stable. Here's the thing. This may be her plan, but honestly, she's not going to have enough time to implement it anyway before we have an election, most likely in the spring. Now, Poilievre, of course, responded and said he would cut wasteful spending at the CBC. And he added that the Liberal government continues to fund them despite those low television viewership numbers. So what can we say about the CBC? We've had stories recently, like I know in many communities, like very small communities, especially up north, the CBC is their only real form of local news. So I can understand that. I can understand the need for it. But at the same time, I think there needs to be some changes for sure with the CBC. So I don't know what you guys think, but definitely let me know. All right. And let's see. Rory says the CBC does love their savior, Carney. There we go. Yeah, well, the CBC has always been a left-leaning news organization for the most part. All right. And let's get to the story that Vic has been waiting for. Yes, I have scuba diver beavers now. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. So Meta is looking to construct some underwater internet cables, and they want to build the world's longest underwater internet cable. Now, this is a cable that's going to connect the US to India, South Africa, and Brazil. And apparently, this cable is so long that if you were to stretch it out, it would be longer than the Earth's circumference. That's pretty big. Now, it'll also come with a pretty big price tag too. We're looking at about a $10 billion project. So why does Meta want to do this? Well, they say that it will stabilize the world's internet highways and support some of their future AI goals. And a lot of it too is a huge chunk of that traffic going across the continents is basically Meta stuff. It's coming from everything from Instagram to WhatsApp to, of course, Facebook. So they're trying to get that stability in there for their own services. And I'm not sure what their future AI goals are at this point, but that's all going to work into it. Now, they did say that with this new cable, they're going to try to avoid some of the more risky parts of the ocean. So not fully sure what they're talking about. Well, part of it might be like, you don't want to put your cables in places where icebergs are going to cut them in half. They also said they're going to be putting them deeper than basically pretty darn deep because they want to avoid people's anchors, like ships that I guess ships still use anchors. Now, currently, right now, Meta accounts for 22% of all mobile web traffic in the world. That's huge. That's a lot. I was not aware that it was that much, but yeah, it really is. So, with over 95% of the world's internet traffic running through these cables, their reliability, of course, is becoming critical. And interesting side story. Somebody keeps cutting the cables, underwater cables, between Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. So don't know what's up with that. Apparently it's happened twice now. So that's kind of interesting as well. And when they're saying keeping out of risky areas, they're also talking about places like the Black Sea and where some of the sabotage type stuff has been happening. Just trying to avoid all of that fun stuff. What can I say? Cables. Ski says, I know the CBC is a media arm of the government and I still don't like them. And and I still like them. Okay. David says climate change is as real as COVID was. And if climate change was real, I'd be happy. It's cold here. Yes, it's I'm in Ottawa. It's pretty cold. It's actually funny. They actually came and took away my snowbanks this week, yesterday, to be more precise. They basically bring these big dump trucks, and then they've got a normal grader, but on the front of it, there's like a giant snowblower type thing, and it blows all the snow up into the back of the dump truck. But they took away our snowbanks, so those are gone, which is nice because I was kind of wondering where I was going to put the garbage because garbage day is coming up on Wednesday. So now I have a place. Prairie says, in my humble opinion, no media outlet should be government funded. Yeah, I would agree with that. We live in the land of rules. Yeah, well, there's a lot of them. Skid says, can you imagine a cable across the Pacific? Like that's a global construction project. Wild. I know. It is. But yeah. But let me think though. I'm kind of curious. Like, I guess there has to be some kind of cables across in parts of the Pacific, but it's easier, of course, to put a cable across the Atlantic because it's not as big as the Pacific. But Andrew says, too many rules. It's finally warm in the West, -1 degree. Oh, nice. All right. We got one last story. Basically, it's just this thing. I thought this was interesting. It's 6 ways companies try to trick you into not canceling. So with, of course, the tariffs and with a lot of the economic downturn that we're about to face, a lot of people are going to want to cancel. They're going to want to cancel stuff. And I don't know about you guys, if you've ever tried to cancel things, like first of all, online, they make it insanely hard. Most services online will almost always make you contact their customer service. It's like there's no canceling here. You have to call customer service to cancel. It's like, what? This is crazy. But yeah, they've got ways to stop you even when you call customer service. So the big first thing they love to do is we call this the ask. So they're gonna ask you why you want to cancel. That's basically their first move. And of course, as soon as you tell them why, guess what? They've got a script for all of those reasons. So for example, you might say, well, I'm canceling because it's just too expensive. They're probably going to counter you with a free, with a free month or maybe a discount for a bit. And then at that point, once they give you that, they're like, okay, so now that's no longer an issue. So, let's let's get things going. Um, it's true because that's what they're doing. They're just trying to delay it. So the whole idea is that the fix that they're providing you at that point, it's temporary. And they're just hoping that by the time, whatever promo they've given you, by the time it expires, they're hoping you've already forgotten about canceling. And usually that's what ends up happening. You forget about it. And after a few more months or maybe 6 months of paying the higher rates again, you're like, oh my God, I'm paying too much. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So how do you handle it when somebody asks you? You simply don't give them anything. If they say, why are you calling to cancel? And you could just be like, because I want to, you know, just or no reason. The simple answers, definitely. Now, another thing that they will employ to use against you is, well, we know this from stock investing, is FOMO, that fear of missing out. And a lot of times in their retention scripts, they build it in there by basically talking to you about all of these benefits that you're going to lose if you actually cancel. And sometimes, even though the benefits may be good benefits, they may be things that you don't use, but at the same time, part of your mind is sort of sitting there going, "Oh my God, yeah, that is a good deal. That's a good deal on that." So they do kind of they do love to suck you in. They try to make you feel, even some of the online ones, like if you click on cancel, it'll say, all right, then they'll give you another message that says, click cancel if you really want to lose this and this, a whole bunch of really good benefits. And it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And of course, another big thing is, and this sort of ties into the first one, is cooling off periods. So they want you to, they want to delay it. They just don't want you, because right now you're in the anger phase. You're tired of paying so much. They just want to delay it. They want to delay it by any way possible. Sometimes they'll give you a free month, or sometimes they'll even say, what if we just temporarily pause your subscription? Most of the times those temporary pauses, they actually will turn themselves back on after a month or something. And once again, you're back to paying everything all over again. The other thing that they like to do as well is they try to confuse things as much as possible. So it's really interesting. If you're trying to cancel something like with Amazon, they will use words like continue and cancel close together and in as confusing a way as possible, just to make things really hard for your cancellation. Um, and sometimes cancel actually means stop the cancellation process. So you might see, and you're in there and you say, oh yeah, I want to cancel. And you click on the cancel in there. And what that cancel actually means is not to cancel your subscription, but to cancel the process of canceling. So you got to be a little bit careful with it. And then of course, you got, I mentioned before about some of the guilt they will sometimes use. So something like, you could have this thing where if you click on the cancel button, says, it'll say, the button will be labeled, no thanks, I hate having benefits, and then whatever they are. It is crazy. They use all of these against you. Sometimes it's a little bit crazy. Absolutely. I will, a funny story, I guess. A funny story that I have is, one company I signed up once. I wanted to see my credit rating. So I actually went to, I think was it TransUnion or whichever one it was. I went to them. I signed up online so I could just take a look. My goal was I was going to take a look just to see, and then I was going to cancel because I didn't want to pay. I didn't want to pay $20 a month. I just wanted to see my credit report once. So I did it. Then I went to cancel. You couldn't cancel online. And I was just like, I can't believe it. I called up their customer service. The wait time was crazy every time I called, and I was just like, fine. They're not charging me again. So I called my bank and I said, I lost my card. And they sent me a new card with new numbers. So that way there they couldn't charge me. It's terrible, but that's what I had to do. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, if I can sign up for something online, I should be able to cancel it online. That's my opinion. But unfortunately, they don't seem to think that same way. All right, we're gonna just quickly wrap up the news here before I get right back to the chat. The only other thing I have is our calendar. So coming up this week in Canada on Friday, we've got GDP data releasing, so that should be interesting. Down in the U.S. on Thursday, they've got Q4 GDP revision coming out, as well as on Friday they have the personal consumer expenditure. So the PCE report that is dropping as well. Earnings wise, oh boy, Canada, we got the big six banks. We got Pembina Pipelines, we got George Weston, we got GFL, Topicus, Quebecor, Canadian Utilities, ATCO. So we got a lot of earnings coming out. The banks, of course, being the big ones. In the US, you guys know what week it is. It's NVIDIA. So we will have that on the close on Wednesday. Home Depot as well has earnings, but who cares about Home Depot? It's all about NVIDIA. So we'll have to see how that's going. Of course, we are getting closer to the next rate decision in Canada, and I think it's going to be a pause. That's going to be on March 12th. So there we go. Whew, we are now through the news. So let me get rid of the news picture. Oh, and it also means I can put me in. Yeah, give me a second. I got this thing that popped up on my screen for a software update, and I can't actually get to it because it's just all the buttons on it are behind the camera. So I'm like, so it has to sit there through the rest of the stream, but that's fine. That's fine. It's not really impacting anything big. All right. Mario says, I hate my snowbanks. I know. I know. They suck. They suck. But mine are now gone. Let's see. I picked up TFII stock on the big dip. Oh my God. Yeah, they did have a pretty big dip here. Let's take a gander at this. Here we go. TFFI. Whoops. TFII. So TFI International. And just pull up the 1 year chart here. But yeah, look at this dip. This is incredible. This was Friday. So I do like, and we looked at this, I think, on the market close. I do like the company. I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll bounce back. Absolutely. All right. Jackie says, as far as canceling, I found the hack. I try once. If they don't cancel my account, I then contact my bank and put in a dispute and block their payment. Works like a charm. Exactly. Sort of like me canceling my card. Just like, yeah, that worked. And Prairie, I canceling because it's my choice. Yeah, absolutely. Now sometimes, I mean, and this does work sometimes as well. If there's a deal at a competitor, then it doesn't hurt to call up your provider and say, look, I'm going to switch over to this one. And the thing is what you definitely want to use the word cancel. You absolutely do, because as soon as you get the word cancel in there, you're going to get transferred to a cancellation specialist. Basically it's somebody whose job is to retain you, to save you. So they have more deals. They have more ways to save you than that first line agent. So you want to get to, I guess, most places, I think they call it retention. You want to get to retention, tell them, look, here's the deal. This is why I'm leaving. And half the time, probably more than half the time, you'll end that call with the same deal, and you didn't even have to change. So it is you can use it as well to your advantage if you understand how the process works. So, just something to keep in mind. Let's see. TFII is going to do awesome. And that was a huge dip. Skiz says the rates we offer customers if they threaten to quit are 50% plus. Yeah, nice. And that's the thing. Like I said, make sure though, guys, make sure if you're trying to get that better deal, whether you're calling Rogers or Bell or whoever, make sure you throw the word cancel there, and you'll know you've done it right when they want to transfer you. When they want to transfer you, you know you've done it right, because they'll transfer you to a retention person, and they have all of the best deals. So, play the game, save some money. 9 says U.S. Treasury ETFs were up yesterday. I bet they were. Well, Friday. Yeah, exactly. Friday. 9, you're gonna look like a genius with all of those U.S. Treasury ETFs. Rory says TFII is still a bit expensive, but its divvy is higher at 1.7% with the drop. True. Let's see, EQB earnings. Yeah, so with the banks, I do, of course, a bank video. I do a quick little bit on usually EQ Bank, Canadian Western, but do they even still trade? Because I heard that I got to take a look. I heard that it had gone through with Canadian Western Bank with their with National Bank's purchase of them. All right, Canadian Western. Oh, it's not here. Well, there's these other ones here, but the normal one for Canadian Western is gone. There we go. So I won't be doing Canadian Western, but Laurentian, I think a couple of others. So interesting. Yeah, I kind of thought that would be the case because the deal has gone through. Meta says, every year it's time to renew my Adobe Acrobat DC. I get 60% off because I tell them it might be a little inconvenient, but I can use it at work for free, so they give me the discount. Nice. That's not bad. It's kind of like now I've got myself in a good thing. I'm using StreamYard. They doubled their prices this year. So I was going to go, I started, I went over and I did a month on Ecamm Live, but their prices were they're still hot. They're a little higher than what I was paying. And then all of a sudden I got their Black Friday deal for StreamYard, and it was cheaper than Ecamm. So I was like, oh, perfect. So now my renewal cycle is lining up with Black Friday. So I should be able to get great deals every year. That's the goal anyway. All right. Let's see. Credit Karma, you can check score for free. I've heard that, but at the same time, I thought I read somewhere that there was that there's a little bit of that there. I don't know. There's something bad about Credit Karma that I read, and I don't know what it was. But it kind of turned me off a little bit on it. But I have gone into Credit Karma before, and pretty much they were trying to sell me all these card deals when I went in, but. Let's see. Andrew says big 7 banks. Oh, we'll add. Never know. EQ is my bank. Maybe they'll make it there someday. Let's see. Jonathan says, I cancel my HelloFresh subscription frequently. A couple weeks later, I get a phone call with an offer of 40% off 2 boxes. I take it and cancel after the 2 boxes and then get a discount call. Oh my God. You have a system, Jonathan. Awesome. I love it. So, and this has continued for over a year. Nice. Did TFII miss earnings that caused their drop? I think they did. I think we looked it up, but let's look it up. Oh, let's look it up again. Actually, look, TFFI. Yeah, we did look it up right here. Bang, big time drop in earnings. So yeah, they missed their earnings by 24.62%. So that's the drop. And they also missed revenue by 5.12%. So yeah, there we go. Let's see here. Ferris says hello, and Skiz says Equifax lets you check your credit score for free every 30 days. Oh, nice. That's kind of cool. All right. Oh, I finally caught up again. Bismarcky says some banks allow you to check your credit score with online banking. Okay, that's nice. As long as it's a soft inquiry, because if you do a hard inquiry, then it does actually hurt your credit rating, whereas a soft inquiry doesn't. It just sort of looks at, and I've always thought that was kind of funny. And I guess I can understand like the whole idea of those hard inquiries. So if you start applying for a whole bunch of credit and you're being turned down left, right, and center, they look at that as being bad behavior. It means that you're desperate. So that means, but yeah, credit ratings are very, very interesting. That's for sure. All right. Well, guys, we are getting a little ways in there. If you got your last minute questions, throw them in the chat. Let's see what you guys can come up with. I'm going to have some coffee while you guys do that. My coffee is getting a little bit less hot. That's for sure. Although these Yeti are pretty good at keeping a lot of heat though. Oh, that's so good. Also, while you guys are coming up with some stuff here, I did want to point out, we have a Discord. We have a Discord. I'll actually pull it up over here. Boop-a-doo-doo. Here we are. So we have a Discord. It's fantastic. We got a lot of people over here. There's a lot of different things. Feel free to come over. The only rule in the Discord is just be respectful for everybody, and that's all that goes. Over on the Discord, you will find a few different interesting things. One, our schedule. So, oh boy, I have not removed a couple of things here at the top here. All right, there we go. I'm going to remove all of this to get us caught up to today. There we go. I do keep the schedule. I did post it in the comments the other day as well. On the community tab. So it is there. But you will find things like this. Pretty much, I like it. I like the Discord. We also have a Facebook group, so you can get that same information there as well. All of the links for this stuff is down below, guys. So feel free to join up and talk away over on the Discord. Prairie says, thoughts on tech CGI. So let's see, gib.a. Oh, let's take a look at gib.a. I haven't looked. It's been a long minute since I've looked at Gib. All right. Here we go. CGI. All right. Oh yeah, they've fallen a little bit in the last 5 days, but let's pull up the 3-year on them. Oh no, they're still doing good. Yeah. I mean, the Canadian, like right now in Canada, there are some really good plays in tech. I've always liked CGI. Another company as well that is becoming relevant is BlackBerry. BlackBerry again. Now they're down a little bit right now, but they have a pretty good quantum play. So I am liking them long term. And I never thought I would say that. So you can see they're down a little bit like everybody else after this big giant rise. But part of it is that when it comes to security, password encryption, there's a big play within BlackBerry for that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what BlackBerry can do. All right. What's your take on the McDonald's stock? Well, let's pull it up. I think it's MCD. Here we go. McDonald's. McDonald's is kind of really interesting. So even when the economy is bad, people who would normally go out to a restaurant start making choices closer to McDonald's and fast food. So sometimes you can see some interesting stuff in fast food. The cat is now bugging me, but that's fine. I don't mind. Let's just take a look here, and you can sort of see we're going to the 5-year. You can see McDonald's. They've pretty much a consistent move up. I think they're still going to be strong. I think they're a good bet long term. But I mean, I wouldn't expect a lot. Like if you look at this, it's not really a parabola anymore. It's almost like they're leveling off a little bit. And McDonald's, that does happen with them, but they reinvent themselves, and that's a good thing with McDonald's. Although I don't know if you guys remember when they did pizza. I don't know if they did that in the States, but they did do it up here in Canada. I actually really liked the McDonald's pizza, but it didn't stick around for long. All right. What are your thoughts about the natural gas market? I mean, I'm bullish on energy, so both oil and natural gas. I think it's fine. Um, right now, the natural gas, I think there's a big demand for it in Europe, and I think as we open up more and more exporting options to them, I think that'll be a good thing. So I'm pretty bullish on natural gas overall. Skiz says, does anybody else want to buy TFI after seeing that drop? Yeah, I I think it's, if you've been looking for an entry point, you may have just got it. That's for sure. Let's see. Ferris, have you eaten McDonald's lately? It's awful and tiny. The quality of food alone keeps me away from Mickey D's. Yeah, there we go. I did try recently. I think last summer I had a McRib. I haven't had one of those in like decades. I had a McRib and I was, after eating it, I was like, what did I just eat? It left a weird aftertaste, and I was just like, how could I have liked McRibs when I was a kid? Yeah, it wasn't good. Let's see. TFII has been a rock solid performer. One bad quarter isn't anything. Yeah, absolutely. Now, mind you, I mean, as we get into more and more turmoil with all the stuff that's happening with Trump and the tariffs, um, it's going to be interesting. Oh, I know something I want to show you guys. This is I made this for a video actually that's going to come out on Tuesday. But just paying attention to the cat. The cat's trying to do something weird over here. Come here. Come here. Ow. Ow. All right. She got away. It's like, I got you this time. I got you this time. Say hi. Say hi to all the beavers out there watching. Here. All right. You go do whatever it is that you want to do. All right. Anyway, she's doing her thing there. Sort of looks like she's doing something to the Mountain Finance sign, but we'll leave that alone. All right. Oh yeah, I made a new Trump. This is my evil tariff Trump. So I thought I would just show that to you. It'll be in the video. It'll be in the video on Tuesday. Prairie says, let's see, TFII has been on my watch list for some time. I may make a move on it this week. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't rebound on you too fast then. Let's see. McPizza was very similar to Pizza Hut from what I can remember. Yeah, I think so. I remember I remember they had the M's turned into Z's for the pizza, and I thought that was kind of cool. Let's see. PRL came out of the news of great cash management and huge divvy increase and has been selling off since. Yeah. See, and I do like Propel. I do like Propel. And I know you had asked me about it in the Discord, actually, guys, in the Discord. Let's see. Jay says, is there an all-in-one ETF for telecommunications? I'm thinking of lowering my risk to AI stock. Oh, that's a good question, Jay. I don't know of sort of an all. I mean, yeah, there are some telecommunication ETFs out there, I think. I'd have to, I can't, nothing's coming to mind. So I'm going to have to look at that. You know what, Jay? I'm going to highlight that because this, Command Shift 4, there we go. We'll highlight your question here. I need to do some research on that one for you, Jay. All right. Funny cat. Yes. Her name is actually Winter. Funny. We have one cat named Winter, one cat named Autumn, and then the other cat's named Riley. Now, Jill named the other cat off of the Riley that was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So go figure. Let's see. For the price of McDonald's these days, I can get better quality from the mom and pops. Yeah, absolutely. Jurassic-sized fries. Funny. GSY is probably going to be bought out. They are so cheap. Maybe. Let's see. Why TFII crashed? Bad earnings. They missed their earnings by over 20%. So that was enough to do it for sure. So it does happen. All right. So coming up on the channel, We're gonna do Tuesday. It's a video on investing, basically Canada. We're gonna look at three stocks and three ETFs that are purely Canadian. It's kind of just a little bit of a talk about that. That's what that video is going to be about. That'll be out on Tuesday. Channel members can see that one day sooner. We, of course, will have our market close on Wednesday, which is going to be a fun day because it's always fun to see what happens with NVIDIA. So we got that coming out on Wednesday, and I have no clue. Oh, I got some work to do because Friday's video is the members' choice video. So I will, as soon as this is over, I'm going to drop a post in the comment, or sorry, on the community tab, because I need you guys to come up with some topics. Because I need 4 good topics to get the community members to vote on, and that'll be what that video will be. So whatever you want, whatever video you want, just take a look at the community tab after this stream. I'll get it up as fast as I possibly can because, yeah, normally the community comes up with the ideas, and then the membership, the channel membership, they vote on what I'm doing, and that's the last video of every month. So I got to get that. I'm glad oh gosh, I'm glad I remembered, because I want to give you guys, like, today and probably half of tomorrow to come up with your ideas. Then I will I will do I will get it out to the channel members, and they'll vote because, yeah, I have to script. Well, yeah, I have to script it on Tuesday. So yeah, let's move fast on it this time, guys, so I can get that vote out quickly. All right. Andrew says, any hope for CNR.to? There's always hope. There's always hope. Now, here's the thing. They're going to be impacted by the tariffs. Not so much, like, they don't import and export, but they carry the things being imported and exported. So as these tariffs take effect, as Canadian products have less demand in the U.S., that's less stuff that they're carrying across the border. So yeah, it will impact them. But CNR, they've got an incredible moat. They're recession proof. They're going to be fine. They may not be hitting all-time highs during the crisis, but I think they'll be fine. So I'd say yes. I will buy more CNR. If they go down, oh boy, I love it. I'd get more. Ferris says, big day for SMCI, so super microchip. Yeah, and they have been doing well lately. I just don't like them, only because there's been some of the corruption and stuff that have been surrounding them. I've just haven't been able to get on board with super microchip, but I know a lot of people love it, and some people are making money on it, and that's absolutely fine. Global X Ring. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's actually take a gander at this. Let's see here. And it's global from the sound of it. Global X Innovation. Global X. I guess I have to put the rest in. Global X Ring. Oh, here's Ring. Yeah, Ring. Global X Equal Weight Canadian Telecom. Well, this one's the Canadians. Yeah, Global X. So there you go. That's interesting. Now, I'm just kind of curious to see. Well, they're doing what our telecommunications stocks have been doing, visiting a nice little dip down here. But the beautiful thing is, I think telecommunications, normally they shouldn't be impacted too badly by the tariffs, but they will have indirect, as we have layoffs, as people tighten their belt, what are they going to do? They're going to lower their cell phone plans. Heck, if you're laid off and you're at home looking for a job, you probably don't need a ton of data on your phone. So, they will have an impact from that. Now, one of the interesting things is that I just don't see them recovering fast, but I think there is a potential. Like, I think they have a potential to start recovery before some of the other things might start recovery. But we'll have to sort of play that one by ear. It's going to be fun. Right now, I just don't have confidence in the sector yet. Skiz says, when I was a child, we moved into a new house and it came with a cat. We never even named it. We just called it Kitty and it lived there with us for years. Nice. Nice. All right. Wealth Simple Site says the stocks you lend aren't insured by CIPF. Okay. There's the second part of that. And Tesla crashed due to tariff by Canada. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, we haven't even seen yet the retaliatory tariffs. And once that hits, I mean, and Trump has already said that in the initial documentation he sent to the Canadian government about the first tariffs that almost happened a month ago. He said that if they retaliate, he would have to readjust them or else, raise them or whatever. So this could get really crazy really fast. We just have to see how it goes. I'm not too optimistic on these at all. I think it's going to be crazy. I think there's going to be a lot of craziness. I think I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to rant big time on Trump and all of this. Jay says, I was hoping both us and Canada and emerging markets for ring stock, but I guess it's better than nothing. Yeah. See, I would actually love to have a global. Now, mind you, if you were to invest in something like XEQT, there's probably global representation of telecommunications within there. Like they have a lot of stocks. So I would definitely. Donald Trump is demanding we take Celine Dion back. Okay, you know what? We'll take Celine as long as you keep Bieber. I'm just saying, you keep Bieber, we'll take Celine. And maybe we'll give you I don't know. Oh, I'm sure there's some other annoying Canadian celebrity we could give you. Yeah. Just as long as he keeps Bieber, I'm happy. All right, guys, this has been another great stream. Look at that, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I love it. This has been fantastic. So we will be back. As I said, we'll be back live on Wednesday. It'll be a fantastic. That's one you don't want to miss because the NVIDIA shows are always absolutely stunning. And I'm sure that Trump will do something stupid by then too that we can add to the show. All right, guys. Until then, take care. We'll see you soon. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, and let's hope the market's a little more sane tomorrow. Bye, everybody.